If you're like me and sometimes get freaked out when you look in the mirror because you think your reflection's not gonna mimic what you're doing, you might not want to listen to this story. Today I'm wearing all ghosties in little jars. These all got sent to me in my P.O. box and I decided that I was gonna collect them and wear them at the same time. How cute. ASMR. Also, Ariana Grande really popped off with this eyeshadow. If it looks patchy, it's just that like it's meant for you to move around. It's not her fault. It's user error, okay? Is that a hand behind me? So this guy says that when he was younger, one of his aunts passed away, and it wasn't an aunt that they saw very often, but they did live in the same city. This aunt was never married, she never had kids, so when she did pass away, the entire family went over to her house just to help clean it out. He would see her during Christmas time, but she was always very quiet, very serious, and he did think to himself, like, he always wondered why she never got married or had kids and things like that. When him and his family finally got to the aunt's house, he noticed that a lot of their other family members had already cleaned it out very well. She didn't really have a lot of stuff, but she was very organized and had a lot of things like set in place. The things that were leftovers were like pictures of people that they don't really recognize, like they weren't part of the family. They found like jars with handwritten labels on them. It was just a little odd and very strange. He decided that he was gonna go into his aunt's bedroom and just start looking into her dressers, and when he did that, he did pull some stuff and then he kind of heard a weird sound in one of the dressers, almost like if it was hollow. He carefully picked up the bottom part of the dresser and noticed that there was a little compartment hidden in there. Inside, he finds this bag that's wrapped around with red hair and leather. The oddest thing though was that leather part that was wrapped around the bag had his name on it. His full name, like not just first name, first and last name. And at first he's looking at this and he's thinking, what the hell, like why would this have my name? Because he wasn't the closest, nephew to her, not even like by a long shot. They hardly even talked. But then he was like, oh wait, this is kind of sweet. Like she thought about me. Maybe she wanted me to have this after she passed away. So maybe we weren't the closest, but she still had something to give me. Now he admits that he actually hid this thing that had his name on it in his bag because everybody had already like went through everything, divided it between families, and the last thing he wanted to do was give them something that had his name and belonged to him and have them share it amongst everybody else. So he put it away and didn't open it up until he went back home. When he finally gets home, he's still curious about what is in that bag and he decides to open it. And when he opens it, he says that it is this very, very old antique looking mirror, like a compact mirror, and it's all silver. He says that he thinks maybe it's worth money, maybe it has some value, so he just ends up putting it on his dresser and goes to bed. So as he's trying to go to sleep, he starts to hear this really strange sound coming from the restroom that is in his bedroom. He says it sounded like if somebody was knocking on glass. It sounded like somebody was knocking either in his restroom window or in his restroom's mirror. He gets up, goes to the restroom, turns the lights on, and there was nothing. There's no one. He thinks to himself, maybe I was half asleep, maybe I was dreaming, maybe I was hallucinating, so he just ends up forgetting about it and going back to sleep. So at this point, it's been a few days since the knocking, or as he likes to call it, him dreaming or hallucinating, and he's starting to notice something really weird. He always leaves the restroom door open that is in his bedroom, and he says that sometimes when the lights are just completely off, he swears that in the darkness you can still see a little bit of light in his room, and you could see the mirror inside of his restroom, and he swears that when he moves, his reflection is almost lagging. Sometimes he'll have like a lamp on in his bedroom which goes towards the restroom, and when he looks at himself in the mirror, his reflection lags, like it almost doesn't move at the same time that he does. Bitch, I would have only needed to see that one time to never go back in there again. He's talking about, I've noticed something weird, like weird things are happening. It would have only need to happen to me one singular time. Now he explains that it's not like this really big long lag, like he will move and it's just one time where it's lagging and not the rest. Like he'll be moving, okay, it's his reflection's moving with him, but there'll be like one little moment where it's not, a moment that is just very noticeable to him because it's not moving at the same time. Oh my god, I'm scared. There's a mirror in front of me right now. I don't even want to look in there. He admits that he wanted to record it with his cell phone because he knew nobody would believe him, but at the same time he didn't want to see it actually lagging. Like, he's like, I can lie to myself. If I have it on video, there's no way that I cannot lie to myself then. He's still sleeping in that bedroom. And after a while, something else started happening. He would be asleep and he would be awoken, not by knockings in the mirror or window. This time he would wake up by voice of a woman calling to him in the restroom of his bedroom. He would hear it. It would wake him up from his sleep. But then when he would fully wake up and he's like, shit, there's a woman's voice, he said it would completely stop. After this happening, he finally decided to tell his mom everything that happened. He took the bag with his name on it, opened it up, the mirror, and now he's experiencing some weird things happening in his room. He explains how his mom never interrupted him. She never laughed at him like he thought she would, because he thought she was gonna think he was ridiculous. When he finally finished telling her the story and everything that's happening, she just looks at him and says, get the compact mirror, put it in the bag, and bring it to me, but make sure it is tied up how you found it. He says that when he came back with the bag, that when he handed it over to his mom didn't even turn to look at it. She just grabbed the bag with the thing in it and she tells him, okay, now follow me. They end up going back to the aunt's house, the one that passed away, and he says that his mom made a hole in the yard and buried that bag with the mirror in it. That his mom put a really big rock on top of where it was buried, looks at him and said, these are things that belong to your aunt. We have no business in this. He immediately knew that it was nothing good. He never asked anything further. He didn't want to know. He didn't want to ask questions. He only hoped that this mirror would stay in the ground buried and that nobody would ever find it, because he's afraid of what would happen if it were to be opened again. That same night, he finally rested. He finally got sleep with no interruptions. He didn't hear a woman's voice or somebody knocking on the mirror. He does say that sometimes he thinks about the compact mirror and if they buried it deep enough, because he is terrified. Like, he's scared of somebody finding it. He explains how his aunt's house had been for sale since she passed away. Until this day, they're unable to sell that house. They still have people go and clean it and just upkeep the house, but yeah, they have not been able to sell it. And the reason why he wanted to share this story is just as a warning, because growing up, his mom always told him, don't touch people's stuff. You never know what people are doing when they're not being watched. And this was one of the biggest lessons that he had to learn. My question is, what the fuck was she intending to do to her nephew? Like, what the hell? Why was it there? You know what? It was hidden. Like, it wasn't open. Did she maybe intend to do something to him? But she's like, yeah, I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready to do it yet. But when I'm ready, I'm gonna open that bitch up and you are about to have crazy fucking nights. Also, he's still very scared to look at mirrors because he thinks that his reflection may glitch again. But hopefully, yeah, that does not happen. But what do you guys think?